Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to first offer my congratulations to you on your appointment as the Speaker of the National Assembly. And I know you will uphold the high principles associated with this noble office. I wish to take this opportunity to, Mr. Speaker, to congratulate and welcome all the new MPs from both sides of the divide, and to invite all members of this honorable House to continue to work to provide the good life for all Guyanese. Mr. Speaker, I'm honored to be elected once again as a member of the National Assembly and to be given an opportunity once more to represent the interests of all Guyanese, and more particularly the citizens of Region 2. The PPP-C government has tabled a $329.45 billion budget for the year 2020, which was presented to this Honorable House by the Honorable Minister Juan Edgell on the 29th of September 2020. This emergency budget, as it is referred to, took 21 days to prepare, maybe because of the haste, lack of proper planning, and foresight has several shortfalls. It is visionless, lacks clarity, it is deceptive and discriminatory. And any attempt to describe it as a pro-pool and pro-people-centered and people-centered is a gross misrepresentation of what Budget 2020 is. Mr. Speaker, as I listened to the budget speech, I got the impression that the Honorable Minister was attempting to impute that for 5 years, the APNU+AFC coalition government did nothing for the people of Guyana. This is not true, Mr. Speaker, and I need to set the record straight. Mr. Speaker, from 2015 to 2020, this country under the APNU+AFC coalition government has seen economic and infrastructural development all across its region, as never seen before as compared to any similar period of our country's history. Roads, schools, medical facilities, police stations were built or renovated. Street lights were placed along our roads. Free internet access for secondary school students, and IT hubs across the country so that our citizens can have access to information. Mr. Speaker, we were accused of not giving our children a 10,000 cash grant, but we must not forget that APNU+AFC government provided bus, boats, bicycles to assist in the transportation of our children. Our government also provides hot meals, Mr. Speaker, for our children. These things are far better than the one-off $10,000 that was given. Mr. Speaker, the people appreciate what we did, and we are proud to have done it. Region 2 has had its fair share of infrastructural development to assist the rice farmers with drainage and to alleviate flooding in the region. The APNU+AFC government installed pumps at Lima, Three Friends, and Devonshire Castle. Mr. Speaker, we in the region are thankful to the APNU+AFC coalition for the 3 brand new generating sets which were commissioned in April 2019. No more blackouts since then, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are also grateful for the brand new primary schools and nursery schools, police stations built, the street lights along the Esquivel Road, the upgrade of streets in our community, in our region. Most of all, Mr. Speaker, our children are grateful for the National School Feeding Program, providing hot meals to them at school. Mr. Speaker, we were unable to complete some of the projects in our region. The Supernam Waterfront project, as well as the Bridge at Riverstone public road, were not completed. We hope that these projects would not be left to languish simply because they are APNU+AFC projects. We expect the commencement of the construction of the Abrams Hill Secondary School sooner rather than later. We also eagerly await the construction and the commissioning of the multi-purpose sport complex that was promised by this government. Mr. Speaker, our tourism sector over the past 5 years has been nurtured, developed, and matured under the AFC plus APNU government into a major foreign exchange hub. In 2018, we received over 286,000 visitors, which contributed approximately $62.6 billion, $62.6 billion directly in the Guyanese economy, which, and at the same time, creating 22,000 jobs. In 2019, Mr. Speaker, we received 314,000 visitors, contributing significantly to our economy. So tourism was indeed on a trajectory. Guyana won 6 Tourism International Awards in 2019, 1 in 2020. Guyana was placed on the tourism map of the world, and Destination Guyana was well established. This is an accomplishment of the APNU+AFC coalition government, a government with a vision for the development of tourism. The APNU+AFC coalition government has established the Regional Tourism Committee and tourism working groups in all 10 administrative regions, with the aim of developing tourism destination or hotspots in those regions. COVID-19 had a negative impact on the tourism industry all across the world, and Guyana is no different. The closure of air and seaports, restriction on internal travel, and COVID-19 restrictions generally had virtually brought industry to a halt. Budget 2020, Mr. Speaker, has nothing of substance to support this vulnerable sector. The APNU+AFC government has established Tourism Recovery Action Committee, an entity responsible for engaging stakeholders with a view of articulating a tourism recovery strategy for the sector during the period of COVID-19. The tourism industry is private sector driven, and all stakeholders should be given support and assistance to ensure survival of this essential industry. The emergency 2020 budget, apart from the removal of VAT on water, electricity, and hinterland travel, which was done by the coalition government since April, has little provision for the support of this sector, even though it is recognized by the drafters that this sector is the hardest hit in the time of COVID-19. Nothing at all was done. Government must be prepared to provide more tangible assistance in the form of financial relief, especially for those stakeholders who may have found it difficult to repay their loans and restart their business. Mr. Speaker, it must have been an oversight for not considering tourism sector for the removal of corporate tax enjoyed by the other stakeholders in the private sector. Mr. Speaker, the business sector also suffered tremendously as a result of the various lockdown COVID-19 measures. Those businesses that were deemed non-essential, small businesses and itinerant vendors suffered loss of earnings and employment capacity. These vulnerable business entities need government continued guidance and support in these times of COVID. Mr. Speaker, during the period 2015 to 2019, the APNU+AFC coalition government, through the Ministry of Business, approved and issued 872 grants, totaling $255,820,000, creating 1,307 jobs, while 297 loan guarantees were approved, totaling $1,056,000. Creating 394 jobs. This, Mr. Speaker, is an example of how government stimulates economic growth and create jobs. In June this year, Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Business distributed $1.6 million in small business relief grants to small businesses to assist them in their challenges of the COVID-19 crisis. This is how, again, the APNU+AFC support and encourage small business development. The allocation of $100 million by government to the Small Business Development Fund is appreciated, and must be used for its purpose intended, and not to support, and that is supporting the development of small entrepreneurs, and not as a guide to reward loyal supporters of the government. Mr. Speaker, we are often accused of not providing favorable environment for the private sector investment. Mr. Speaker, from 2015 to 2019, the Guyana Office for Investment received 584 applications for projects, of which 280 projects were executed. Total investment, $281,982,000,000, resulting in 18,989 jobs being created. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minister, in his presentation, admits that income levels remain below par. The current private and public sector minimum wage are inadequate to allow a reasonable standard of living, but give no indication on how this government intends to address this issue. The government has missed a golden opportunity to provide an increase in the minimum wage to all our workers and ensuring that they have a decent standard of living. Mr. Speaker, our public servants are disappointed. For the past years, the APNU and AFC government provided continuous increase in public servant salaries, which are usually retroactive and accompanied by an increase in income tax threshold, providing more money in the pockets of our workers. Mr. Speaker, public servant minimum wage in 2015 was $39,500. And in 3.5 years, the APNU plus AFC government got it up to $70,000. This is how a caring government operates, Mr. Speaker. Today, we are told that the PPPC government has nothing to offer the hard-working public servant except a promise of $25,000 cash transfer to supplement the household income in these times of COVID. Mr. Speaker, are we to expect the 25,000 cash grant as a monthly stipend for the duration of the COVID-19 period? If so, Mr. Speaker, I thank the government for this initiative in advance. Mr. Speaker, our senior citizens are disappointed. They will not receive the 40,000 monthly pension they were promised during the campaign. They are now told that they will receive $4,500 per month, not retroactive on the 1st of January 2020, but at insult to injury, they have to wait until 2021. Mr. Speaker, those less fortunate persons receiving public assistance were not considered under Budget 2020. No mercy shown to the poor and the privileged. Is this a demonstration of how government intends to treat the poor and unfortunate in the future? Mr. Speaker, another disappointment of the people is the broken promise of the 50,000 because we gave cash grant to our school children. You didn't say that. You didn't say that in your campaign. We have another promise now, Mr. Speaker, $15,000, hopefully to be fulfilled in 2021. Mr. Speaker, would this cash grant be a one-off like the last time? The Guyanese people must know how much this government cares for our children. Mr. Speaker, 2020 budget under the theme, our plan for prosperity, protecting our people in a COVID-19 environment, democracy and rule of law, incentivizing growth and job creation, enhancing welfare, even though it is an emergency budget, falls far below expectation and need revising. And for those reasons, Mr. Speaker, I cannot support Budget 2020 for its passage in this House. Thank you very much.